Well, good evening. Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming and listening to our trip that we went on. Like I said before, I've got a long list of what not to do next year and the shorter list of what to do next year. So each of these teenagers are going to share about their favorite thing about the whole trip, favorite thing about being in Colorado, and then what did they get out of being there at Dare to Share. So Hadassah's going to go first.
It was my favorite thing about the whole entire trip was, I think it was talking to a guy about the gospel that he's only read 2 chapters, and it was only Adam and Eve that he's read. He was very interested in what I had to say, and it really touched my heart because I was really, really scared at first because I got rejected twice. So I was very nervous, but I asked him if he had time to listen to me, and he said yes. And he talked to me. He said he was waiting for someone. He was praying just for help to understand which God was right for him. And he said that he thinks that I was the reason, and that he has a lot of hope for God now. I think my favorite thing about my favorite thing about Colorado was just spending time with my friends the whole entire trip. It was honestly a really memorable time, and it was amazing for me just to get to know everyone a lot better because I made a lot of friends this trip, and it was really fun just to get myself out there and have fun with people and just have fun. And I would say what I got from the trip was, you might be really nervous to talk to you about Jesus and share the gospel, but after you do it, you feel really, really good because praying with someone for that you don't even know, and just, it was beautiful to me, and it was one of the most best things that I've ever done in my life.
Hi, my name is Brooklyn. Thank you. My favorite part about the whole entire trip was probably being on a van with all my friends, and my second thing was Colorado. My favorite thing about Colorado was probably getting to see the university. There's up a lot more opportunities for when I get out of high school and stuff. What I got from this trip was that, well, I've got rejected a lot for gospel conversations, and I finally got that if you keep on trying, that your third one is probably going to be the best one.
My name's Nevaeh. Okay. Okay, my favorite thing about the whole trip was probably hanging out with my friends and helping people too, because they need some help. What I got out of the trip was probably not to be scared, even if you are scared. Yeah, and like to just have courage to go up to people even though you don't want to. Even if you get rejected one time. Because my favorite thing about Colorado was the university.
My name is Timothy, and the favorite my favorite thing about the whole trip was meeting new people and where they were from and what their thoughts were on the Bible and Gospels. My favorite part about Colorado is probably the university, because it was super big, and a few other kids from down the hallway were playing hide and seek tag with me. The thing that I got from this trip was that no matter how many times you get rejected and get told no, there's still people who will agree and accept Jesus.
My name's Joshua. My favorite thing about the whole trip was being in the van. So I was just like playing on my Switch and just not caring about anything until we get there. My favorite thing about Colorado was meeting new people from different states that were all there. There were some people from Wyoming, Idaho, and they're actually nice to talk to. What I got out of it was when he said on Wednesday or something that just keep on praying because it's God's permission to do it.
I'm Jacob, and my favorite thing about the whole trip was kind of getting to Colorado and kind of spending time with the people at the university, and there are some pretty cool people down there. And my favorite thing about the Colorado was I hooked up my Nintendo Switch to 26 TVs, and it was just a huge flat screen TV in this huge dorm type thing. And it was getting ready for lunch, and there was about good 60, 50 kids around us. And when you kind of have that feeling of, that there's a ton of people staring at you and you kind of just don't want to mess up. Yeah. But the thing that I kind of got from the trip was kind of talk to more people that are kind of just, that seem like out of balance in a sort of way. Like, we on Wednesday we went out and kind of spent time out with kind of the public. Got my nails painted, and I was having a good conversation with this woman, and we started just saying like what's our favorite like holidays and stuff. And she was actually really nice. And halfway through she kind of started like breaking down and stuff, and she kind of talked about how life was like kind of rough, and she kind of had a little ankle brace type thing, so a lot of stuff has kind of just gone off the charts with her. And I just kind of just prayed for her, and she kind of just started breaking down, and she just said to keep her in prayer. And so yeah.
My name is Jeremiah. So my favorite thing about the trip is the music, and it was amazing. There was kids in the front jumping, having a blast, and me and my brothers had a favorite songs called "Let the Lion Roar." That one is a very good song, and it was amazing. About the Colorado trip, my favorite thing was that I get to meet new people, make new friends, and the food. Well, hold up. Also, my favorite thing was the food because it's kind of like I forgot what it's called. It's kind of like it's kind of like Golden Corral, but different sort of the way. It's just that there's so much food. There's pizza, ice cream, steak, salad, etc. stuff. Yeah.
I'm Brian. My favorite thing about the whole Colorado trip was watching Jacob influence the entire floor of the dorm room, give him a high five every time. It was a high five parade. Yeah, that was the best thing I ever seen. I was like, okay, as long as he's having fun and getting other people engaged. And then when we would take it to the mess hall area, he did National Fist Bump Day and got everybody to give him a fist bump. And the van trip was a blast. Watching these kids get Ron to dance and stuff behind the wheels, pretty fun. The one thing I do love about Colorado was our last night there, the torrential downpour of rain, cooling things off. It was probably a blessing in disguise because it was way too hot all week. Yeah. Oh, and watching these kids go out and share the gospel because they're actually bold. I mean, I would never have the courage at this age to go out and share, but they became equipped with it and went out and were bold.
Chicken.
I guess it's my turn, huh? I'd have to say my favorite thing about the whole trip, well, the fact that we actually got to go and do this, because I know I went last year by myself, and I know I was telling these guys all year round, and I'm sure they were tired of me talking about it. But I had to get them down there to show them what I experienced last year, and it was true, wasn't it, guys? Yeah. I think they were more eager to get down there with the food. I'd have to say one thing that I got, actually there was a lot that I got out of it, but the main topic for the week was worthy. They had based on Jesus being baptized and God saying that you are my son who I am well pleased. And with teenagers, they seem to not have those affirmations with them. They don't seem to understand that they are worthy, that they do have the authority from God, that they are who they are, that they are children of God, that we are all children of God. And I think that's very important for these guys to understand that and to go out and share. And like Brian said, that these guys had so much courage and boldness to go out there and share. The girls had ended up telling me that they got rejected like 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, oh great, they're gonna shut down. But no, they did it. Each and every one of these guys, they did it, and I am so proud of each and every one of them for doing that. I'm not. So I was good. I was good emotionally all week long until the very last night. So the very last night we had a mountain experience where we go up into the mountains one last talk. Teens got to share about their week. Some of them even shared about their personal lives that had changed because of that week. And I got a chance to anoint each and every one of these teens and leaders. Ron went with us as well. And surprisingly, these guys turned around and prayed for me, and I lost it. But it was good. I think we realized that prayer is like the very most important thing that we can do right now. We have a thing called a prayer circle that we have put friends in there that we would never imagine to see step inside a church. And we're going to pray for them every single day. We're going to pray for them every single moment we can, because we want to see them in church. We want to see them know who Jesus is and why we worship him. So, yeah. Does anybody have any questions for these guys?
In the morning, we had morning service. We basically did 15-minute devotions. There were some like lessons in there too, and then there was a prayer afterwards. So. There were so many of them. Yeah.
I know that there was over 400 teenagers down there worshiping. And I think the second night that we were there, they did an invitation, and I was told about 50 new teenagers came to Christ that night. 50 for the first time. So, and then towards the end of the week, over 400 teenagers had over 2,000 gospel conversations in Colorado. So God was definitely on the move. So
What was the question again? Well, like with the girls, like we were like teamed up with our group, so we went out to like the park, the splash pad, right? Yeah, and then we went all the way to the skate park, to go like share with people, and so it was like us girls, and then the boys were split up with them, and then us girls. Yeah, the girls and then the boys, I think, were in twos, right? Or threes, twos and threes. Two. Oh yeah. Oh not with you.
Yeah. So we would mostly start off with, isn't it the ask, admire, and admit? So there's the 3 A's. It's called ask, admire, and admit. So like ask questions, like start a small conversation, just be over here like, what's your favorite hobby? What's your favorite food? And then they would get like more into it. And then after you've had like a lot of conversations, normally they say, well, what's going on? Why are you asking me the questions? Which I've had a lot of people ask me. and they're up here. Well, I'm up here. We're sharing about the gospel to everyone, and we just want them to know that God actually loves them. And so, yeah.
Us ladies had an incident on the way home because we were so motivated and praying for people. It was in the bathroom, but this lady had asked why our group was there, and I said, well, we're on our way home. And she goes, well, what did you guys do down there? And I go, well, we went around to the parks and shared the gospel with people. And she goes, well, I could do some prayer myself. And I got two girls in the stall, and we're out talking about prayer requests. And so, I mean, awkward is awesome. That's what we learned down in Colorado. And sure enough, she said she needed prayer for her daughter who had moved out. And we waited, guys. We waited till she washed her hands. And then we prayed over her. So I'm just glad these guys are motivated to start praying for people. So.
The van that we had, it only carries children, not luggage. Not luggage.
Okay, that van was like a minivan. It wasn't a 15-passenger van. It was a minivan. Like, that's how it felt. And the seats were uncomfortable. I was trying to lay down in there and try to sleep. It was uncomfortable.
That's why the leaders were up front. Other questions for them? Jacob and then 10, okay?
We were kind of thinking of doing a spread the gospel type thing down at the skate park, like a lot more times than we did this year. And one of the ideas I kind of came up with is we go to the high school and we put up a poster that says, if you need prayer, call this number. And if they just call it, we pray about them, and we kind of just invite them to church, and that's kind of hopefully where the slide goes to. A lot of kids. We're kind of hoping to splitting up and kind of hoping getting a lot of kids in both of them. And we're kind of, for the high schoolers, we're going to be doing a kind of helping out with the adults, with the middle schoolers. So we kind of get to mess around with the middle schoolers a little bit. Kind of help them. Yeah, because we kind of come to the conclusion that when we finally get kids into our youth group, the kids that come to our youth group will kind of slowly start joining us for church, and that's kind of our plan on that one.
Yeah, so we have pictures in the back, and then I made a little slideshow. There's like no music on it because it was last minute. I'm sorry. So that was us leaving at 5 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, we have about 3 people that aren't here tonight that went on the trip. Ron was an excellent driver. We stopped at McDonald's. We even got to stop and see Stetson. Apparently his house is all along the freeway, so we got to stop and see him. We stopped at the church in Roosevelt, Utah. The girls saw the couch in one of the rooms and said that was our room to sleep in. But they didn't end up sleeping on the couch. I ended up sleeping on the couch. So the one on the left is they're eating dinner. They had huge tables. They were always sitting together. And then here on the right, sitting at our table doing worship. It was a very big gym. So this gentleman on the right, that was one of the speakers, Zane. He was really good. There's over 400 students right there worshiping. Like Jeremiah said, the music was amazing. I think each and every one of us is on that song for repeat. The leaders, we got to have our own meeting. Yes, with 5 dozen donuts. They had to take care of the leaders. The right is Nevaeh and Zane, and then on the left, Jacob likes to bring white T-shirts with a Sharpie marker and have people sign it. So that's what he was getting done. Our devotion time in the morning, Brian snatched that picture. I thought it was a really good one. This gentleman, that is Gerard. He was another one of our main speakers. That is on our way to the Columbine Memorial. That is one of the crosses that was put up after the Columbine shooting. They had 13 crosses up on the memorial site, but because it was in the city and people were complaining that you put religious and city together, that they had to take it down. So the gentleman that created the cross, he heard about Dare to Share and gave Dare to Share one of the crosses that was up there. So each year when we do Dare to Share, we take that cross right back up where it belongs. And we did. We walked that cross right up the hill. So here they put the cross up where it was normally, and then the kids got to walk all the way up and write a one-sentence prayer for that friend that they want to invite to church and share the gospel with. So one powerful thing about that week, especially there, we're actually down there worshiping, and one nice thing that I love to do is I like to go silent to hear these guys sing and worship. And one of the songs that we sang was How Great Thou Art, and without any musical instruments, and it was like the most beautiful sound and vision up there. And it was hot. So Gerard here is talking about the truth about identity in Christ, who we are, how we are viewed, whose we are, and why we serve. And that was the invitation night, and that was when about 50 teenagers came to Christ for the first time. We even got to have communion. I had to show a little bit of the kitchen. So this was our, you guys remember what day this was? Care Day. We were very lucky and got the water part of the day. Others had to be, they were actually weeding somebody's lawn. And so we got the lucky part. We got the water. I think the guys, they pumped up. How many balls did you guys pump up? I think there was like 50 of them, maybe more than that. No, there were volleyballs or soccer balls. Yeah, so we were lucky. We got the splash pad, we got the water balloons, we got the slip and slide. One thing I'm going to share about Nevaeh and Harley. So when we got there, they asked for at least 50 people to go door to door, sharing about Jesus and inviting them to the barbecue that we had in this area. And so Nevaeh and Harley, out of our group, got to go and do that. And what experience was that?
Let's just say, after the first door, because I was scared to go up to the door, let's just say Harley pushed me in front of one door, and he knocked on the door, so I had to speak. It was not fun. It was fun. It was okay. Like, once you do, like, a first 3 doors, you start getting used to it, and then you finally realize that they're just people. But there was, like, 2 kids that one kid really had, like, a good, like, attitude, and so when we went up to his house, or his mom's house, we said, do you want some chips or cereal? He's like, yeah, we'll take some chips. He's like, thank you. I'm like, oh my gosh, that kid. And then this little girl had the best hair. I'm like, oh my gosh, I like your hair. She's like, thank you. It was fun.
So they had a tent to where the little ones were supposed to do makeup and nails, right? Yep. So I ended up taking this picture because we had learned when we got there that the city wasn't going to allow the group to have access to water to fill up the pools or to fill up the water balloons or to fill up anything. So what they had to do was they had to take the gallon or the 5-gallon jugs and walk it 2 blocks down, fill it up, and walk it 2 blocks back. And then somebody got the clever idea of filling it up from the water fountain. So I did add it. I did. Oh, so the picture on the left, I'm going to explain it, unless somebody else wants to explain it. My nephew takes after his grandmother. Let me get the camera first. Harley decided that because it was so hot, he was going to fill up the 5-gallon water jugs a little halfway through and start pouring it on each and every one of us. Well, the last person, thanks guys. So, thank you, Joshua, for videotaping that. Yeah. Where'd we go, guys? A few of these guys will learn not to eat what Harley orders. Praying for each other. I know, I should have been praying. Oh, there's Jacob and his 26 screen. Anybody remember what we were doing on this one? We're practicing our ask, admire, admit. Ron taught everybody a lot. That's okay. It's okay. These guys did really good at practicing how they were going to speak to other people that they were going to meet for the gospel conversations. So since they got that practice in there, we're going to start practicing it here in Prineville. So I got to share about this day. This was our share day. They sent us back to the Columbine Park where they had the Columbine Memorial. Okay, so it started like sprinkling before we got out of the van. And so I'm like, hey guys, let's pray before we get started. And so sure enough, I prayed and I'm like, God, if you could just hold off on that rain for just a little bit, that would be the greatest. So, yes, we got in the van and it said 103. Jacob, do you want to explain yours? it was cold in there. Somebody cranked up the AC.
Okay. In that gym, it felt like Prineville and like during the winter time, so it was like freezing your butt off. And so me and Ron forgot our sweaters in our dorms, and the only thing that was actually there that was like cloth, it was the tablecloth, and me and Ron were just underneath the tablecloth, just shivering right underneath the tablecloth. It was fine for Ron because he got the coffee, but I was stuck underneath the tablecloth freezing.
So on the last day, we got together as a group and we got to come up with a strategic plan for the next school year for youth nights, events that we want to do, ways to get the teens in there. So that's what we were sitting around and discussing. Lots of ideas. You guys had amazing ideas. I don't know. So we were up in the mountain area. This was our last evening, and I wanted a group picture with the two speakers. So on the right side, we're trying to get Zane to come over and be in the picture with us. So it was a good evening. There we are. We were all emotional. I think it was the rain. Yeah, when we first arrived, it was lightning and pouring down rain, and they didn't have anybody leave underneath the. It's just gigantic gazebo that everybody's under. Yes, we all fit under there. Is that the last one? Oh, okay. Well, thanks, guys. Like I said, there's pictures in the back and refreshments. And please don't hesitate to ask these guys more questions and stories. So, actually, can I pray before we all leave? Sorry. Dear God, thank you that we can have this awesome opportunity to get trained of how to share the gospel. And thank you for these wonderful, amazing people that came to hear our teens and talk about our Colorado trip. And I pray that we each have the courage and the boldness, like a lion, to go out and share who you are and invite them to church, and just pray for an amazing year in youth. And in your name, amen.
You guys stay here. Anyway, I just want to say this is really, really awesome. The church is really fortunate to have a group like this that are interested about growing in your faith in the Lord, interested in sharing your faith. I was at a church dedication today, and it's a church that has a nice building, and it's awesome, but it's about the people in the building. They would love to have a youth group like this. We're very fortunate to have you guys. Thank you for being courageous, and we've got 18 churches in our association. You guys are probably the third largest youth group. I know that might not seem like much to you, but it's the truth. So keep being who you are, loving each other and reaching out, and we do really appreciate you.
Thank you.